Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we are getting into the brand new Hammond collection Carnotaurus. Now, not only is this a dinosaur that is actually one of my favorites as far as in the movie, and we're going to see in a moment as we look at the box that there's going to be some movie art depicting the moment that it appeared in the Jurassic World franchise. But in addition to that, this is actually one of my favorites as far as a dinosaur goes from way back because I knew of this dinosaur from old dinosaur books from many, many years back. So happen to have a dinosaur book line that would emphasize the more unknown dinosaurs. So it was very interesting. So while this dinosaur really became popular with Disney's dinosaur movie, for me, this was a dinosaur that I always liked from way back before that. So I'm excited to open this one up and unbox it and get into it with you guys. Now, first, we're going to take a look at the box. See here, this really nice pose. The posability that they have for this figure just looks really amazing. Carnotaurus. Let's see. It says right here, as Claire Deering, Owen Grady, and Franklin Webb attempt to flee from the erupting volcano on Isla Nublar, I'm sorry, the menacing Carnotaurus interrupts their plans and stops them in their tracks while a gyrosphere offers some protection. Its surprise appearance of the Tyrannosaurus Rex that ultimately allows them to escape. So here you can see right here, there's Hammond Collection Owen, which is funny because you got the Velociraptor and Dimetrodon. It's funny because I've seen a lot of video reviews where Owen is just everyone has so many Owen characters that it's funny. Now you've got a Hammond Collection version, which I'm sure there's a lot of people who are just tired of getting Owen. So I thought actually, though they had this description here of how he appeared in the scene, I actually thought that there was a I'm just getting this now in the mail. I actually thought that there was showing something depicting the scene, but there actually is not. So that's interesting. And let's get into it. The following near the end of the video or somewhere in maybe the middle of the video, I am going to compare it to the Hammond Collection Rex because obviously that's the most popular Hammond Collection figure of all, along with Corythosaurus. I'm going to compare him to that figure as well, but mainly for the size, because apparently, here we go, and I'll put that into the back, assuming that it won't disturb my my focusing. And I'm gonna just pause the video, and I'm gonna come back when I get him completely out of his packaging. Okay, so now we have the Carnotaurus out of the packaging. His tail is rubbery at this portion of it, while this part is hard plastic. And this is actually done the same way that Corythosaurus is done because he has that same thing where it's like the rubbery um, tip of the tail. There we go. Now, I'll try to get him in a nice standing pose, and he seems to be doing that pretty well without me having to put much effort. So here we go. He is completely in view. There we go. Now, just taking a look at this figure, he's actually done very well. Let's get a little bit of scale. We're going to throw in our little Roland figure for scale. You guys are happy not to always be seeing Owen because most people always throw Owen in their videos. So there goes Roland. And you could see if the 3¼ inch figures is considered 6 feet, he's a nice height above that. I'm going to pull out the measuring tape in a moment, but just want to kind of get into the detailing things. I really like the size that they did for him. The tail is a decent length on the tail as well. being that it's a detachable tail. So it allows the tail to be very long. And these Hammond collection ones tend to really give you a lot more length of the tail versus the non-Hammond collection variants of most of their dinosaurs. So that's very good. The proportions in the body just looks very nice. Just a nice chunky size. He looks very chunky, just a very large size, yet not oversized either. Because I know sometimes some of these figures are very oversized, and this one looks nice. So just to give you heads up, the measurements of a Carnotaurus roughly, I could be a little bit off because I don't remember exactly, but roughly they're about like 11 feet tall. I want to say generally at the head. Which obviously a little bit different than the hips. I think they're like about 11 feet, somewhere between 11 to 12 feet at the head normally, which obviously the head, I can angle it up higher, but here you've got a very, horizontal stance. Close this really quick. Now, and in length, a Carnotaurus, if I'm not mistaken, is just shy of 30 feet. I think it's somewhere around 29 feet. It might be 25 to 29, but roughly, I'm going to say, you know what? Give me a moment. I'm going to check that to verify. So yeah, I'm seeing it coming in about 26 feet. So yeah, roughly like I had mentioned before, though I think I've seen in the past measurements going close to about 29 feet. So you have around that kind of range, and the height was like I said, about 11 feet from what I can remember inside the past. And so this really gives you proportions that seem to fall within range of that based on what we can see from the figure and rolling right here, and just how long it looks and whatnot. It's a very nice looking figure here. So while I have him in this stance here, I'm just going to do my usual measurements and conversion based on the three 3 1/4 inch scale and equating that into feet. So let's see here. What do we have? It's roughly about, it looks like 17 3/4, just shy of 18. 17 3/4 in the length. And in terms of the height, um, I'll go off of the hip, and that is that top little spike on the back of his hip is about 6.5, where like just below the spike is, if you didn't have the spike, it just barely gives it a 6.5. So we'll go with that for the tip of the spike. I know it's a little bit cheating, little spike right here. But 6.5, I'm not going to go off the measurements of the head because obviously the head can be tilted a little bit lower, tilted a little bit higher, but you'll still have a general idea in scope and scaling. So what we're going to do here is do that conversion. So we had 17 3/4. So I have him at 28.4 feet long. As far as his height, at 6.5. And at 10.4 feet. So based on the measurements that I originally had told you that I estimated that he would be, and then looked up some information, he actually fits a completely right on scale with what a Carnotaurus's size should be, which is great. Um, granted, his head might be a little big, maybe. I'm not really too sure, but if that's how big their skull is, because it definitely seems pretty big. But nonetheless, maybe that is because the truth is that's a roughly probably about like a 3 foot or 2.5 foot long skull. So maybe that is about right. But definitely glass eye on the figure, so it looks really nice. See the interior of the mouth, done very well. The teeth are actually rubber teeth, so that's nice too. Rubber or soft plastic. I think it's rubber though. You can see the eyes. He has the glass eye, which comes off very nice. The detailing on the figure is really nice. Now, his arms, they're done with all the articulation that most Hammond collection figures have. And the arms, there's nothing wrong with them and they look nice other than the fact that they're not accurate to the way that the figure his arms would be, because a Carnotaurus's arms are actually smaller than that, which, funny enough, might be the reason why on the box you don't have any pictures of. I know that the Hammond collection Rex has a picture of a scene with the T-Rex, and that's why I thought this was going to have a scene from the movie. It just has a description, and so did the Brachiosaurus had a depiction from the movie, if I'm not mistaken, on the back of that one. But what's funny in regards to the box, but what's funny is this one doesn't have that, and now I'm wondering to myself, is that because of the fact that his arms would not depict accurately because his arms are a lot longer? I don't definitely don't think it's a deal breaker because the figure looks very is just amazing, but at the same time too, just know that his arms are definitely longer. I mean, yeah, longer than what they would be if the way it is on the regular one. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because I'm getting him posed up. So he obviously has articulation in his tail. He has 2 points of articulation here and here. And this is real feel. It's rubber, so I just like to call that real feel whenever something's soft and feels rubbery. He's got articulation in his joints here, um, for his knee, his ankle, and his toes. And I compare that in the way that our humans, so I don't know if that's what you would call those areas, but they bend in the same joints that we do as human legs, even though it looks like theirs goes backwards, and it does. But just understand that where the joints are is similar to ours in that way. So if I'm not stating that correctly, I'm basing it on human anatomy when I say that's the knees, that's the ankle, the next point of where on a leg you would have a bend, and then the toes where you would have the next bend would be that. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how I'm saying it. For you knowing where the articulation point is, you have on his shoulder and his elbow articulation there. You have 2 points of articulation on the neck, which this is a more of a up and down. It doesn't really have a little, it has a little bit of side to side wiggle, but more of a up and down, slightly a ball joint. And then this piece right here is slightly up, can go side to side and up and down as well. I don't like to move the figure too much to get him too loose. Now, obviously, then you have the jaw, which goes up and down and is actually designed in a way where when one goes, the other one is supposed to go too. Yeah, they're connected in that way, so you can kind of feel it. So yes. Now make sure that he stands up pretty well because I'm going to compare him now to. I see this review is getting long already. First, I'm going to compare him with Carnotaurus, which you can see here. One of his legs are a little bit loose, so already I don't know why I didn't even really move him much like that, but he just is his other leg on that side. Generally speaking, you can see he is actually taller. I know the view is a little off for seeing that, so hold on. Okay, had to take the camera off the tripod just to get a better look at the height on that level, and you can see that Carnotaurus versus Carnotaurus. Carnotaurus is bigger in his height and his stance, along with his length as well. So very nice depiction there. And then here you can see T-Rex with Carnotaurus in the foreground. And you can see Carnotaurus is definitely a lot smaller than the T-Rex. And in addition to that, you definitely get that feel or that scope of, sorry for the jitteriness, but I'm holding it in my hand because I want to have it on that level. You get a sense of that, of being able to mimic that scene where if the T-Rex came and wanted to chomp at Carnotaurus, that size difference is definitely there for that. Um, as I mentioned before, in the previous video, I thought that this T-Rex was 25 inches. He's 24 inches, which brings him the equivalency of like about 38 feet long, so almost 40 feet long within that scale. just so you guys know, if you want to do the math at home as well, it's 19.2. So you measure them and then you times it by 19.2, then you divide it by 12 to get that measurement in terms of feet for your dinosaur. And where I base that scale off of, just so you know, is I take the 3¼ inch size figure and just assume that to be 6 feet, and that's where I get that scaling. So this was a look. I was going to say a quick look, but it hasn't been a quick video. This was a look at the Hammond collection Carnotaurus. Post your comments down below if you have this figure, if you want this figure. Tell me some things that you like about it, that you dislike, or whatever the case is. And I'm going to have an affiliate link in the description for Amazon, where you can purchase it on Amazon. Um, if it's actually on Amazon. I don't even know if it's actually on Amazon. I think it is, though. And I will catch you guys in the next video.